Welcome to Downnotable Content. My name is SJ.
And I'm Alex. We share the last name Herschel and are two down-to-earth guys bringing you notable content from the world of gaming.
Today, instead of gaming, we're actually going to be creating a Pixar movie tier list.
Let's get right into it.
3, 2, 1.
Herschel. How are you doing this fine evening, sir?
You know, I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired. For those of you listening, we're actually making this episode just a couple days after our last episode. So
Yes. We're on the grind.
I guess those episodes were actually just for Patreon, so only our Patreon listeners will know what's going on. But I've just been super busy and so tired, and there's a lot going on. But we're almost there, so we're
If you want
good.
to hear those extra 2 episodes, check out our Patreon.
Check out Patreon. It's
Yeah.
kind of sick. We have
Yeah.
some good stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, should we just jump right in?
yeah, you doing okay?
Yes.
That was a hezzy. What's going
Yes.
on?
No, I just really thought about it. I was like, am I doing good? I thought about it, and because it's the end of the day, my processing speed is lower.
Fair
so I was
enough.
like, yes, I am. I'm good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Same though. A little tired,
Mm.
but it's good.
Making it
Life
through.
is good, and I love it. This is fun,
Yeah.
recording the podcast. That's why we started it. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you were saying this earlier, but this should be kind of fresh because neither of us really know each other's Pixar movie preferences. It's not really something that we've discussed before.
No, not really at all.
So this should be pretty fun. Just a heads up, if you are listening to the audio only version, which is completely fine, you can still follow along and it should still be a good episode for you. But just so you're aware, we do have this set up differently so that you can see us, of course, in the video version, but also we're recording my screen so that you can see the actual tier list itself as we are building it. So if you're able and have the time to watch a screen, I would recommend going to YouTube or Spotify and viewing the video version. But if it's audio only, totally fine.
Yeah, we're going to do our best to still make it just as engaging for you audio-only people.
Because
But
we
yeah.
love you.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
don't play favorites here.
No. We're going to go in chronological order. So,
Yes. So from date of release. So from oldest to newest. And we have 26 full-length movies to go through today. And I guess before we get into it, just as a general note, we're going to be ranking these in comparison only to Pixar movies. If we were to rank them just as movies overall, there really wouldn't be any movies that I would consider bad movies. Actually, that's not true.
Nothing would go in
There's-
D tier.
There's one that I would put in
Really?
D tier regardless.
Okay.
But for the most part, compared to other movies, these are all S to B tier movies.
I agree.
And that's just going to be a little bit boring. So we're keeping it just related to Pixar movies itself. So if one of your favorites is in D or C tier, we're not saying it's a bad movie. We're just saying, in
It's
our
just
opinion,
Relative
compared
to the others.
to Pixar movies,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit lower. So let's do it.
Toy Story 1, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think about that for a minute. I'm thinking... So that's a great movie. Woody is kind of a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still good.
Mm.
I want to say A or B.
I'm a B tier myself when
Okay,
it comes
then
to
I'm
this
okay
one.
with B. I'm okay with that.
It is very good. But yeah, they were still kind of figuring out their characters. Woody's pretty mean.
He's a jerk in that movie.
He's pretty rude, and yeah, like I feel it doesn't hold up as well as other older Pixar movies. Like I feel like it's definitely I just don't tend to watch it as often because I just don't enjoy it as much. But it's still good. B tier. Started everything. We owe everything to that movie. So
Very true. Whenever I do watch Toy Story, like every now and then I'll be like, my wife and I will be like, hey, let's watch all the Toy Story movies. We do always watch the first one. And we still enjoy it. But anyway. Bugs Life.
So actually, one thing that my family did this summer,
Yeah.
my dad got a big inflatable blow-up screen, and every Friday
I love that thing
was
so much.
a Pixar marathon movie. Have you seen the new one? So it's not just the sheet anymore.
Oh, I know. It's like a full-on...
Yeah, the blow-up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a castle.
Yeah, and every Friday was Pixar night. But in the summer, there's only like 12 Fridays, right, over the course of a summer vacation, which was when we were doing it because he wanted his children to be able to stay up late and everything.
Yeah, you can't.
So they had to pick their 12 favorite movies, and Toy Story 1 didn't make the cut.
Oh no.
So I'm excited to see how this list goes. Anyway, yes, moving on to Bugs Life.
I liked Bugs Life. It's B or C for me.
Interesting. I can't remember the last time that I watched Bugs Life. I find it pretty boring for the most part. So I'm a D or C person, especially when compared to Pixar movies. You're okay with C?
Yeah, I'm good at C.
Okay. All right. Anything else to say about this movie?
You should watch it again.
Okay.
It's been several years since I last watched it, but I don't know, it's still good.
Yeah, it might be worth a revisit. Okay.
Toy Story 2, I gotta say that's an A tier at least.
I 100% agree.
Okay.
I would put it in A tier.
I could also put it in S. We can also change these later too.
Yeah, we'll probably go through the end and adjust a
Okay,
little
let's
bit.
put it in A for now.
Yeah.
Potential S tier.
Yeah.
So, I can't think about it too much because if I do, I'll actually start crying. That one song that plays, you know what I'm talking about.
Instantly.
Enough said, because I can't keep talking about it or I'm going to cry. Every time I watch that movie, I cry.
Jesse's song is...
Oh my gosh.
No, and it's... I don't think Toy Story 2 tends to get as much love because when you rewatch it, not only is it, very emotionally strong, it's still really, really funny. Like
it really is.
It is
it's
a very
so
clever movie. Like you could really tell that Pixar as a studio kind of hit its stride when it came to this movie. They knew what they were doing, and it's good.
It's absolutely fantastic.
It's very good.
Okay, before I cry, Monsters Inc. I want to say B tier. Most. No greater than B tier. I love it, but...
Wow. Then I'm okay to put it in B tier.
What were you thinking, A or B?
I still think I would have put it in B tier, regardless of what you had said.
Okay.
Because it is very good. I like it a lot, but...
Honestly, I think putting Toy Story 2 in A tier just set a hurdle for the rest of the movies. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be difficult for movies, for the other ones to like get up to A tier because we put Toy Story 2 there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we can adjust.
Yeah, and Monsters Inc., like, I think a big reason that I have so much love for Monsters Inc. is the ending. I really like how that movie ends.
It is a really good ending.
Like, it's one of Pixar's stronger finishes to a movie, and also the Monsters Inc. ride at Disneyland just makes me happy. I don't know why. It's the simplest ride, but it makes me happy. Anyway. Finding Nemo.
Oh, Oh, that's a good one.
Nemo used to be my movie, man.
Used to be, huh?
Mm-hmm.
When did that change?
When I was like 8 or something.
Oh.
But I can remember when I was young, because this movie came out in 2003. So I was 2 years old. And so for whatever reason, it just attached to me, and I have distinct memories of watching it a lot. So
I know what your favorite movie was for the longest time. When you were like little. I don't know how old you were. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember specifically.
Tarzan.
I did love Tarzan. I did like Tarzan a lot.
Like everybody in the family knew you were obsessed with
Tarzan.
Yeah.
I did like Tarzan a lot.
Tarzan's good.
We'll have to do a Disney movie one, but we'll do like a specific time period, like 80s to early 2000s at some point.
Yeah, because there's a big difference
there's-
between those movies.
Yeah, and the Disney era, you can kind of tell when Disney was shifting styles and stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, Nemo. Personally, I would put it no higher than B tier,
Really?
like B or C. If it was C, it would be a high C, but I wouldn't put it in A personally. What do you think?
I was thinking A or B. Then I guess it's got to be B.
When we're done, are we going to go through the individual tiers and rank the movies within the tiers too?
We could.
I think we should, because
Let's-
there's a difference
yeah.
between a high B and a low B.
You're right. Okay.
So go ahead and put it in B, and then we'll revisit.
And okay, well, we could do that as we go. I'd say like I like Nemo better than Monsters Inc.
I do too.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you watching video, the movies to the left side are gonna be like higher on that tier.
Would you put Nemo above Toy Story?
Mm,
I personally
I'm on the
would, but I'm
fence.
okay
Yeah?
leaving it. I'm okay leaving it.
I'm okay to put that above.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the fence. So
Okay.
The Incredibles. Now that's a really, really good movie. I want that in A tier.
I would put it in S tier.
S tier?
It's so good.
Toy Story 2 though?
I'd put it above Toy Story 2.
Holy.
As much as I love Toy Story 2. But go ahead and throw it in an A for sure. And we can debate the placement later.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I think we'll go through
Yeah.
later again. Cars.
Cars is good. The first one I think is one of the better ones. Would you say?
I'd say the Cars one is the best Cars movie.
Okay, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Solid B tier.
I'd put it in D tier.
Oh!
I don't like the Cars movies. Do you want to split the difference?
I'd be okay with C.
You want to split the difference and put it in C?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm gonna put it below Bug's Life.
okay, all right, fair enough.
Ratatouille. I really like Ratatouille. How are you feeling on that one?
I love Ratatouille.
Yeah.
I'd put it in A tier.
Me too. Okay.
Sweet.
Below. Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Right.
I think so. I think below The Incredibles. Yeah.
Wall-E S tier. Easy. Easy S tier. I feel like Wall-E is underappreciated like no other.
I have a question. Never mind, actually. I love Wall-E. I do agree. I think Wall-E gets a lot of flack because, like, one thing that Pixar movies have going for is that they're really, really quotable. And so when you make a Pixar movie that has very, very little dialogue, people just don't.
That's what's so good about it.
It's genius. It's Pixar's like most visually based story, and some of those space scenes. Still, I mean, Wall-E came out in 2008. That's
That movie
15 years ago, and it's
so
still incredible.
And the movie's ability to convey a robot's emotions
it's
without,
pretty ingenious.
Yeah, any dialogue is. I mean, he makes sounds, but it's absolutely amazing. So okay, so you probably don't.
And the soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Like I have a couple
So
of
good.
those songs on my study playlist, and they're like. I also have a before test playlist that's like 30 minutes of just instrumental music to kind of help me put in a confident Zen mode. Some of Wally's music's on that list, so I wouldn't put it in S tier.
Let's
but
put
I'd
it
put
in
it in A tier, and I'd put it at the top of A tier.
Agreed. All right. Up.
I'm gonna go first. Okay. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. And I'm going to mention, I haven't watched Up in probably 5 years.
Me too.
But I think Up has one big problem.
Okay.
And it's that the first 15 minutes are arguably the best thing that Pixar's ever done. And then the rest of the movie is not nearly as good. Like when I think about Up, I think about Carl and Ellie's life together.
Yes.
That's my instant first thought, and it's beautiful. But I feel like the rest of the movie suffers because it just never matches that peak again for me.
So the backstory is stronger than the actual things that's happening in the movie.
Now, I've been told that now that I'm older and have experienced certain things in my life that I'm not necessarily going to reveal here on the podcast because those are a bit too sensitive to share, that I should rewatch it just to see how my opinion changes.
We should rewatch it sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely, hey, maybe that's what we do when you finally get to meet her.
Yes. That's
get dinner,
a great.
play some Smash Bros, and then watch Up.
Heck yeah.
Okay, bet.
Sorry, we just made hangout plans.
But well, you can't even blame us. We spend so much of our time together working on the podcast that like actual hangouts just don't happen very often for us.
No, one. Anytime we talk, it's like if we occasionally find a funny meme, or
I noticed like we've talked about that a lot, and like I feel like this week has been a lot better. Like I feel like we've talked less about the podcast compared to how we normally do.
Yeah, I agree.
Or I don't think we've talked less about the podcast, but we've talked more about other stuff.
In general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, because we
anyway.
don't want the podcast to take over our friendship, right?
Exactly.
Like, we don't want to just be talking business all
Exactly.
the time.
So, I think Up's a great movie. I would say highest part of B tier or lowest part of A tier, personally.
Okay. Then I was thinking at least A tier. Somewhere in the A tier. I love it. I personally don't love it more than I do Wall-E. So how about we put it below The Incredibles, or do you want it at the bottom of A? I'd be okay with the bottom of A.
Okay, then put it there.
It's been a while since I've seen it too.
We might have to let you guys know once we do get to hang out and watch it, whether
we might change our minds.
Misplaced it.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3.
So good. S. Hello?
I don't think it's better than Toy Story 2.
Now, I can't say that it's better. I would put Toy Story 2 in S tier too. I'm okay to put it right under Toy Story 2.
Okay.
Above Incredibles.
Okay. You know what? This is a list of compromises, so I am totally good with that.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Cars 2. I don't remember this movie.
D. Put it in D right now.
I don't remember this movie.
Put it in D tier.
I know I've seen this, but I don't remember it.
It's
I
the
remember
one-
absolutely nothing.
It's the one where Mater becomes a spy accidentally, and they think he's this like ingenious spy, but he's just being an idiot throughout the entire movie.
Oh, yeah. After watching that movie, I didn't watch any subsequent Cars content ever.
You haven't seen Cars 3?
No.
So our ranking is going to be based solely on my opinion for that. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine.
I
'cause
haven't seen it because I saw
don't
Cars
like
2
it.
and it was I didn't care for it.
Cars.
Didn't they come out with planes?
So Planes is actually technically a Disney movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
No
not,
wonder why it's not on
a
here.
Pixar movie, but they do have
Interesting.
that. Cars
Okay.
2 is the worst thing that Pixar's ever done. It just is. And I know that a lot of people a lot of people my age grew up with the Cars movies. The first Cars came out when we were 5, and then Cars 2 came out a few years later. So like a lot of people are just really, really attached to the Cars movies.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
But it's never done it for me. And I think objectively, when you look at it, it's just not good.
It's not a good movie.
It's-
I mean, I watched it as a kid and I still didn't really care for it at all.
This is the movie where, regardless of if we were just comparing them to other Pixar movies, I would still put it in as a D tier movie. I just
Yeah,
don't
like
think it's good.
objectively as a movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Like Bug's Life in an overall movie list for me would be a B tier movie, but
yeah.
like, for example.
Yeah. Right.
But
right.
Cars 2 doesn't have that. Okay. Brave.
Um,
If you had the chance to change your fate.
no higher than C. I'd be okay with D.
I can't put it in D.
Top of D.
I can't put it in D, but I'll be okay with C.
Can I put it at the bottom of C? Because I like the first Cars movies better than Brave.
And you like Bug's Life more than Cars? Are you willing to do a Cars 1,
Okay to...
Brave,
Cars 1, Brave, and then Bug's Life?
and then Bug's Life?
All right. Let's move that around here. So, Brave is just all over the place for me.
Mm.
Like, it's so random and it doesn't logically make sense. The plot doesn't make sense.
Okay. Mhm.
I'm not going to talk about it and go in detail as to why it doesn't make sense, but the thing with the mom and the bears and all that, it doesn't make sense. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I personally think Brave is one of Pixar's weaker movies. But I will say, this isn't exactly impressive because I'm pretty sure about 20 of Pixar's movies will make me cry pretty consistently. But I adore my mom. And so any movie that has to deal with like a motherly relationship just automatically has some sort of resonance with me.
Yeah.
And so certain moments of that movie make me highly emotional because of how I feel about my mom. And just because I'm emotionally reactive to movies, especially.
When I say it doesn't make sense, I mean like
Oh no! I mean,
as the plot's progressing,
the plot's pretty over the place. It's like it's pretty wild.
Wait, why did this person choose to do this? Why wouldn't they do that? You know, there's a lot of times like that. But I get the emotional.
It's less
thing.
focused than other Pixar movies.
Yeah,
it definitely is.
Really
I'm with you there. Okay.
Yeah.
Monsters University.
I never saw that movie.
Never?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If I did, I completely forgotten. So it's all up to you.
Monsters University is good. But it's not as good as Monsters Inc. It's a C tier movie when it comes to Pixar
That's
movies.
kind of what I've heard.
Like it's fine. And so not to spoil anything, but like one major part of that movie is about, or not one major part. Mike's trying to identify his self-worth and like what he's capable of and like why he matters.
Wait, I think I did. Do they have like a competition thing at the school? Okay.
And so
I've seen
it's pretty jarring to see Mike Wazowski, who's just a fun-loving, funny guy, like legitimately be concerned about whether or not he belongs.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a pretty there's some very mature moments for a kids movie in Monsters University.
Top of C tier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'd put it in C tier.
Higher than Cars.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. Inside Out. This is at least a B tier for me.
Okay.
A or B somewhere. Well, let me think about that for a minute. I think it's better than the original Toy Story. Am I going A tier? What do you think?
Inside Out's S tier for me personally.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna
That's
have to be
no
an A tier movie at least.
I'm okay to put it. I'd put it above The Incredibles. Do you agree?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You choose where in A tier because I would put it above every single one of those movies.
okay. I'm gonna put it right under Toy Story 2.
Under
And-
Toy Story 3.
Yes, Toy Story 3.
Okay.
And frankly, that's just my personal bias that I love Toy Story,
Toy Story
and
movies.
WALL-E.
Mm-hmm.
That like Inside Out, no matter how fantastic, just can't top it. The
Okay.
Good Dinosaur. I saw this movie. I've only seen it once. I liked it.
I think me too, actually. I think I've only ever watched it once.
I think I watched it in theaters when it first came out, and I never rewatched it again.
Uh-huh.
It was really sweet.
It's pretty similar to Ice Age, I think. Have you ever seen the Ice Age movies?
I think I've seen one or two of them. Really don't remember much of it, though.
It's good. And The Good Dinosaur has probably the funniest Pixar moment ever. When the dinosaur and the kid get high on the rotten berries and start like
I don't
having
remember
like
that.
psychedelic visions. It's literally like 20 seconds. They like eat the berries and then they like start to get all hazy and the kid starts laughing and like you just see like smaller versions of his head coming out of his mouth. It's really funny.
They're just doing drugs.
They just get high
Straight
and then you
up,
see
yeah.
them like hungover. They've got like headaches and stuff afterwards. But
I'd put it under Nemo.
yeah, I'd put it in
B tier?
B tier. I'd put it in B tier.
Are you okay with that placement there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Finding Dory. This is gonna be A tier for me.
Above Nemo?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I honestly, to be honest, I would need to rewatch both of these because I haven't seen either of them in years.
In a long time.
But Finding Dory is really good. Like, you really get to know Dory and why she is the way she is, and like, it's really personal.
I do think it's one of the more undervalued sequels to a Pixar movie. Like whenever talking about Pixar sequels, you always hear about the Toy Stories and stuff, but like no one ever really talks about Finding Dory. I personally would put it below Nemo, but I'm okay with it going in low A tier.
You'd put it below Nemo?
Yeah, I think Nemo's better, but
Then how about right there?
okay. Yeah, that's good.
So
Still in B
we
tier.
put it, top of B tier, right above Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Cars 3, I don't know this movie.
It's a D tier movie.
Okay. Moving on.
Kind of just more of the same with Cars, but it's above Cars 2.
Oh,
It's
alright.
better than the second one.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I guess it's a low hurdle.
We're gonna
Coco.
get absolutely flamed by anybody that likes the Cars
I know.
movies.
Guys,
You gotta understand,
just
it's just
us
not
personally.
our movies. They're just not for us.
I like the first one. First one was good.
Coco.
Coco was at least A tier.
Coco's an S tier movie.
Okay, I'm gonna put it. between Toy Story 2 and 3. How's that?
Okay.
And honestly, at the end of this, we're just going to go through A tier and pick out the S tiers.
Probably. Probably. Okay. Incredibles 2. Or actually, sorry, we didn't give Coco nearly enough attention. It's beautiful, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And if you haven't seen it in a little while, go watch it again. It's beautiful.
So I was like anti-Coco for a while because when the movie came out, so like lately, I'm just not the kind of person to like go to the theaters and watch a movie on release night, because half the time, especially these Disney movies, they come to like the streaming services later anyway, and I'd rather just watch it in the comfort of my home. And also like there's a part of me that's a bit of a contrarian to where if everybody's like, oh my gosh, this movie's so good, I love it, it's so good, I'm like, okay, then I don't care about it if everybody loves it. My sister can relate to this, but we're kind of that way to an extent. But I watched it and I was like, this movie was not overhyped at all. I totally get why everybody's crazy about this now.
Visually, probably the most impressive movie that Pixar's ever made. I mean, when you look at The Land of the Dead and how many, like, if you watch like a breakdown of how they just like animated it, so incredibly impressive and so much work, so much color. The plot is beautiful. It's, a beautiful look into, a heritage and traditions that I really didn't know much about.
Yeah, it made me appreciate like Mexican traditions. Like it was a great highlight of the culture.
Right. And like just the intense ties to family and what it means to actually be like a good member of a family, because I mean, it talks a lot about how that you have a duty to your family. But Miguel spends a large part of that movie feeling unvalued by his family.
Yeah.
But as they both come to an agreement of what one needs from the other, that's something that every family needs to do.
It's a very mature theme presented in a very palatable format for like all ages. Yeah.
It's very good. And if you don't cry at the end, like, do you like have a heart? Yeah, like can you hear? Can you see? Or are you just not really existing? Anyway, okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say that they dislike Coco.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I've heard people that are neutral towards it, but I've never heard anybody say anything negative about the movie.
Incredibles 2. After many, many, many years, it finally came out.
It was a long time.
I've only seen it once.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that it surpasses the first movie.
It doesn't. I don't think it does.
Yeah. Where are you feeling? I'm thinking like bottom of A or somewhere in B.
I'd put it high B tier.
High B tier. Do you like it better than Nemo?
Yes.
Better than Dory? Yes. Yeah.
Personally, yes.
Okay, we'll just put it at the top of B tier. I'm good with that.
It's a good one. Toy Story 4.
When we thought they couldn't do it, they did it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear rumors that they're making Toy Story 5.
Not rumors. Confirmed.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the works.
That's an insanely high hurdle. Toy Story 4 is S tier.
I can agree with that. Toy Story 4 is my favorite Toy Story.
It's absolutely insane. Okay, for now I'm going to put it at the top of A.
Well,
no, we both agree it's S, right?
I can't believe that you're agreeing to put it in S tier. I feel like whenever I praise Toy Story 4, everyone tells me, well, it's not as good as 2 or 3. Like, I always get people fighting me on that.
Yeah, I disagree. It's really, really hard for me to put the Toy Story movies up against each other although I recognize that the first one is the weakest one, like, objectively speaking, I think there's a fair argument to be made that Toy Story 4 is the best.
And yeah, honestly, you could argue that any of 2, 3, or 4 are the best.
You easily could.
But I remember the first time I saw it, I was in theaters with some friends. No, maybe with my family. I saw it in theaters twice. Once with my family and once with a group of friends, and I cried both times.
Yeah, I would too.
It's beautiful. It's incredible.
And Toy Story 4, but I think part of me is like conflicted, and we're gonna have to revisit this when we figure out exactly which
of the
movies in
A
A
movies
tiers
go into S tier.
S, because Toy Story 4 is as good as it is because of the movies that came before it. Like, the movie itself is so good, of course, but at least in my mind, I can't help but wonder, am I just so invested in Toy Story that I'm putting this movie on such a high pedestal, and I'm so invested in these characters that what happens to them is a massive impact.
No, and that is fair. And as like a franchise of movies, like there are certain series of movies where each movie like is independent of the other, and not that like Toy Story 4 or all the Toy Stories are one story, right? Like, you don't have different arcs. Like, it's all building and going throughout one arc throughout all 4 movies, and each of them stand well on their own.
Yeah.
And as a whole, they're much bigger than the sum of their parts.
Yes, totally agree.
And other franchises aren't that way, but Toy Story definitely is. So it can be very hard to make distinctions
right?
on rankings and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Onward to Onward.
Can I just say, Onward, when I saw that trailer for Onward, I was like, this movie, I really couldn't care less for this. And then I saw it, and I was like, the trailer did not do it justice at all. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought the trailer was garbage. At least B tier. Like higher B tier.
I'd put it in A tier personally. I've seen this
me
movie 3 times. And I have an older brother and then I have a younger brother. And so it's kind of interesting to see how a movie about brothers impacts me in that way. Because you relate with different aspects of both of those characters and their experiences at different times in your life.
That is interesting.
So I'd put it in A tier. I think it's incredible. Underrated.
Above or below Inside Out?
For me personally, below.
I agree. Above Incredibles.
I wouldn't go that far, but I can be okay with that. That's okay.
Actually, yeah, I'm good with this. So it's below Incredibles in A tier, but above Ratatouille.
Okay.
Well,
Ratatouille's good.
Ratatouille's really good. Let's put it below Ratatouille.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because again, like, when it comes to A tier, like, once you've made it to A tier,
you really need to distinguish yourself.
Yeah. It's very good.
Soul.
You have to go first on this one.
I liked Soul better than Onward.
I did too.
I thought it was really good.
How good?
At most, I would say bottom of S tier. At least, I would say high upper A tier.
I'd put it in S tier personally.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Soul was supposed to come out a few months before my mission, and then COVID happened and it got delayed. And it came out on Disney Plus about a month and a half after I had started. Now, when you're a missionary, you can't watch movies. I went 2 years waiting to see this movie. And when I say waiting to see it, like, every Pixar movie's release is like a big deal to me. Like, I really like Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And it was the first movie that I watched when I came home. And after 2 years of extra hype, on top of the hype that it had already received leading up to when it was supposed to come out, it still hit the mark. It's incredible.
So that was the first movie you watched after your mission?
After 2 years, that was the movie I had to see first.
Good choice.
And is probably still my favorite movie that I've seen since coming home.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
Luca. Do you want me to go first?
Huh.
Oh, okay. A tier, not as good as Coco.
A tier. Yeah, not as good as Coco. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I'm surprised. So, like, where specifically do we want to put it?
I liked Toy Story 3 better.
Okay.
Let's see. Inside Out. I think I liked Inside Out better. Do you agree with that?
I do like Inside Out better than Luca.
Should we put it above?
Incredibles? Or above Ratatouille? I like it better than Onward.
Yes. Me
'Kay.
too.
How do you...
It's somewhere in here. Let's revisit.
I have a lot to say
Let's
about that
revisit.
movie, so we'll come back to it in a second.
Okay.
Turning Red.
I liked it.
I did too.
I would say no more than like lower end of A tier. Maybe B tier.
I would say B tier.
Okay, we agree on
I'd
that.
put it above Nemo. And I'd probably put it above Dory, but I'm okay with putting it anywhere in B tier as long as it's above Good Dinosaur.
This is where I'm feeling.
Okay.
Above Good Dinosaur,
But below
right under
Nemo. Okay, I can be good with that.
Lightyear. I was really excited for this movie and I was let down.
Really?
It's the plot. I really have a problem with the plot. I'm gonna say
Just specifically, what about the plot?
it just doesn't make sense. Like, so quick spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Lightyear, skip ahead like 5 minutes. So Zurg is himself. It's not his father.
Okay.
It
Fair enough.
breaks everything.
Fair enough.
It breaks everything.
Fair enough.
It ruined it for me.
I'm sorry that...
This is like top of C tier, maybe. Monsters University was probably better for me.
Okay.
How do you feel about this one?
I'm okay putting it top of C tier. As I'm looking through these movies, like this list obviously is not in order of my personal preferences, but like Monsters Inc., for example, I prefer that over Lightyear. I would rather watch Monsters Inc. than Lightyear.
I agree.
So I would put it low B tier, high C tier. I'm okay with wherever you want to put it on there. Put it in C tier just for the sake of balance.
Above Cars, right?
Yes, definitely above Cars. I'm gonna get massacred for my
I actually prefer
absolute
Cars.
roasting of Cars than
I've-
Lightyear.
Yeah, I like the first Cars.
So
better than
Lightyear is definitely a pretty weak movie, but you got to admit his cat friend is freaking awesome.
Man, I couldn't care less about the cat friend when the main plot line is broken.
But like when the cat's like, all right, I have to get a signal. Meow, 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 meow. And it's just a robot cat, but yet it still acts like a cat. It's just,
Yeah, no.
I really think it's
cat
it's a highlight of
was
that
a
movie.
good part of the movie for sure.
And I mean, like, low-key running like interstellar, like time manipulation stuff. That's pretty gutsy to do for a kids movie. And I'm not trying to get you to put it above C tier. I can totally see why you don't like it. I don't think it's one of their better movies. So.
It does have its merits, right?
Yes.
And I mean,
it
even
does.
though it's a C tier movie, actually, you know what? If we were just talking like all movies ever, I would still put it no higher than C tier.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I would probably put it in B tier in that case, but
Okay.
that makes sense.
It's like,
and again, you
it's
have
my personal gripe with
right,
it.
and you have such a personal attachment to the rest of the Toy Story movies. Like I love Toy Story,
yeah,
but like
I grew up with Toy Story.
I'd say that there's
was
probably 2 Toy Story movies in my top 10 Pixar movies, whereas you would probably have maybe even all of them.
At least 3, maybe
At least 3,
all.
maybe all of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's just you have that very
It's
emotional
biased.
connection.
Yeah,
So
it's biased.
I can
get
totally
it.
see why you don't like them as much. Okay, so quick rundown before we we'll you know what, let's edit first and then we can just do a final rundown of our collective rankings, which doesn't properly reflect either of ours
Okay,
purest
so
opinions.
so far in A tier we've got WALL-E, Toy Story 2, Coco, Toy Story 3, Inside Out, Incredibles, Ratatouille, Luca, Onward, and Up. Which of those go to A tier, S tier?
That's the question, is in order to get into S tier, does it have to be a consensus we would both be okay signing our names to having it in S tier?
Let's start there.
Let's start there, and then maybe we also each just get to pick one more to throw up there depending on how many we get in. Okay.
Toy Story 2 is S tier for me. Here, let me just name off which ones for me would be S tier.
Okay,
and you
go
can tell
ahead.
me whether you agree.
Go ahead.
WALL-E, Toy Story 2, maybe Coco, Toy Story 3. That's it.
Oh, man.
You don't agree with any of those, huh?
Out of the ones that we have listed here that I would put into S tier would be Coco, Inside Out, and Luca.
Okay. I'm okay with Coco.
Do you want to put Coco up, and then
I'm
we
okay
can
with
each
Inside Out being
really
at the
bottom of S tier?
bottom of S tier?
Okay.
If you feel that strongly about it, yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, Inside Out's my favorite Pixar movie.
yeah, no, let's do that then.
Okay. Then do you want to go, each of us get one more pick that we can automatically send into the S tier?
That's hard.
And
man.
just for the sake of this, none of them can be placed above Toy Story 4 or Soul, because those were original run-through agreements
100%.
on S tiers.
100%. Yeah. Oh no, Jesse's song's playing in my head and I'm gonna start crying.
It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Okay. I need to talk.
Okay. So let's run through it. What sets WALL-E apart? Let's go through all the A tier movies and say
Okay.
of the ones that we think should be upgraded to S tier, why? Like literally like 30-second convince the other
Okay.
that they should be in S tier. for
WALL-E is like no other Pixar movie ever made.
Uh-huh.
It's absolutely genius. The characters are fantastic. Concept is super unique. WALL-E's just adorable.
Upgrade it. I'm
Okay.
good with that. I can put it in S tier. Okay. Toy Story 2, go.
Jesse's song, enough said.
Okay, I have a question though. If we're putting Toy Story 2 in S tier because of Jesse's song, are we putting up in S tier because of the beginning?
No. Well, yeah, and I was kind of joking about Jesse's
No, I know.
song
I'll just
thing.
keep going.
Toy Story 2. So like, okay, we got Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 that are still in A tier.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I would put both of them in S tier. Maybe like right around where WALL-E is. Are there either of those two movies, Toy Story 2 or 3, that you would put in S tier? If not, I am okay to leave them at the top of A.
I personally don't think so, because I don't think either of them are in my top 5. And
Okay, then let's leave it.
I think
Let's
okay.
leave it. I'm good.
Do you
with
have an
that.
argument for Incredibles being in S tier?
No.
I think it's underrated. But I would still keep it in A tier. I love The Incredibles. But yeah, I think A tier is a good spot for it.
Okay.
Any arguments for Ratatouille? Oh, Ratatouille's really good.
If you want that in S tier, I'd be okay with it, actually. Ratatouille is really good.
I don't think I can justify, because again, like where I have it on my personal rankings list.
Yeah.
It's so good, but
We can't
remember
crowd the S tier.
we're not comparing it to every movie. We're comparing it to Pixar
It's
movies.
relative to all other
And so
Pixar movies.
I think for Pixar movies, it has to stay in the A tier for me.
Yeah. No, you really like Luca.
Okay. You know
Is
how you
that-
were saying WALL-E is unlike any other Pixar movie?
Uh-huh.
You know how every Pixar movie tries to make you cry through like this ingenious new way of thinking?
Uh-huh.
Lucas says, screw it. Let's just tell a story about friends and it's still going to make you cry. Luca has the most simple, pure story in a Pixar movie outside of probably WALL-E and Coco, and yet it's still incredible. The animation is fantastic. Italy is portrayed beautifully. Every
Okay.
single main character is incredible.
I'm sold. Above or below WALL-E? How strongly do you feel about it? Because I feel
I would
pretty
put it
strong
above
about
WALL-E, but I'm okay with it being below WALL-E for the sake of this list. Like, I'm okay with it being like that, because again, if
Okay.
you make it into S tier, it's all relative, right? And
Yeah, it's hard to.
it's hard to make a
rank.
difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I guess final rundowns before we give our audio listeners a final ranking of our collective
Anything to be
thoughts.
adjusted.
Where do we need to make any adjustments? I'm good with everything in S tier. I think the A tier order is pretty dang solid as is.
Yeah, I might put Ratatouille above The Incredibles, but those two are really close for me.
They're really close for me too, so if you want to move it above, then I'd be okay with that.
Then I'm okay. I'll just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, A tier looks good. B tier.
It's hard. Like, Turning Red I've only seen once. I really liked it, but I don't think I can justify putting it above Nemo.
I can't either.
That's like the
I
only
liked it
one.
too.
That's the only one where I'm in B tier where I'm like, is that order right?
But it can't go above Nemo, right?
No.
So
No, it's got to be there. Okay.
what? The Good Dinosaur? Is it above The Good Dinosaur?
Turning Red?
Yeah.
I would put it above Good Dinosaur.
Okay, then I'm good with that.
Okay, then I think we're pretty finalized here.
Yes.
Are you okay? Well, okay. Are you okay with Brave where it is? Do you want to bump Brave down below Bug's Life? Wait,
Are you good with that if I did that? I did like Bug's Life better than Brave.
yes. And in return, can we put Cars below Bug's Life?
Oh yeah.
Are you good with that?
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
That's good.
And I know your disdain for Lightyear probably
Uh-huh.
wants to be a little bit lower. Do you want to... I can't put it below Cars. But if you want to put Bug's Life above it, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
'Kay.
If you don't mind.
That's okay. That's okay.
I would be okay with this as is too.
No.
But if
you
I
can
had
go
my
ahead.
way, I would do
'Kay.
that.
All right. We are going to start at the bottom and go all the way, or, okay, real quick. On S tier with those first two, do we like the order on that?
Me personally, I do.
Okay, I can be good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, our collective, if SJ and Alex graded the Pixar movies together, this is probably as close to how the list would shake down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if we were to like put individual numbers, I still think this would be like a pretty
This
good
would be
representation of the point
Yeah.
spreads.
I agree.
Where some of us have movies higher than they would be, and others are lower than they would be, but
Uh-huh.
it balances out. Okay. Our least favorite Pixar movie is Cars 2. What's next?
Total agreement. Cars. Is that 3?
That's 3.
Yeah, the one I
Can't
never
even
saw.
tell. Okay.
Um,
Moving on up into the bottom of C tier, we have Brave,
and then Cars.
then Lightyear,
A Bug's Life.
Monsters University,
And then bottom of T tier going up is Monsters Inc.,
Toy Story,
The Good Dinosaur,
Turning Red,
Finding Nemo,
Finding Dory.
and at the top of B is Incredibles 2.
And now, as we jump the final hurdle, not the final, jump a hurdle into A tier, where the rankings become even more subjective than before. We have at the start of A tier, Up,
And onward,
Ratatouille,
The Incredibles.
Toy Story 3,
And at the top of A is Toy Story 2.
just on the outside looking in. So
Yep.
close to S tier.
I know.
Oh, man. Can't
all
do it, though.
good.
Okay. And in S tier, the cream of the crop, we have Luca,
Wall-E,
Inside Out,
Coco,
Soul,
and Toy Story 4. I think it's important to note that both of us, there was a consensus that both Soul and Toy Story 4 should no doubt
be in
S
S
tier.
tier.
So those two movies are basically the top of the top.
For
Yeah.
us as a group, they are the strongest two movies. The only two that got a unanimous
Yeah.
S tier from the beginning. And haven't questioned it. Like, I'm not looking at this and like, does it really belong in S tier? Like, no, they're S tier. They're
And,
just S
and
tier.
are you in do you agree that Toy Story 4 is greater than Soul?
No. But
Okay.
they're so close. I think the gap between Soul and Toy Story 4 is smaller than it is for you. So you place, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Which is why
that
Toy
makes
Story
sense.
4 gets leaned over into the top.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And Toy Story 4 is still a top 5 Pixar movie for me. So,
yeah, hands down.
like,
Hands
I,
down.
I would personally place it at number 5, but, like,
Right.
yeah,
we're
it's-
weighing the
Okay,
value
well-
of each. Right.
Okay. Out of curiosity, your top 5 Pixar movies. Go.
Oh baby.
In order if you can. You don't have to. If you don't
Okay.
if you don't want to, you don't have to.
at
I
the
personally have an
moment,
order, but
I would need to put more thought into it. So, not in any order.
okay.
I would say Toy Story 4,
Okay.
Toy Story 2,
Okay.
Soul,
Okay.
Wall-E,
Okay.
and oh gosh, Toy Story 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But I recognize, right? Like, if I was somebody that watched these movies like without any nostalgia, any prior knowledge or investment into the series, like that list would probably be very different.
Probably. I mean, yeah,
like,
I don't
like
I
stuff
don't
like
have
Coco and like Inside Out, I think would be higher on that list.
Mm.
But I'm so personally invested into Toy Story, and this is a whole nother topic I could go into in another episode, but like toys coming to life, connections with toys is such a big deal to me. It's insanely relatable that I just can't put it any lower.
And, I grew up with the Toy Story movies. I grew up watching them. But I don't think I have as emotional of a connection as you do. And even with that, and I feel like I'm able to, when it comes to certain movies, I feel like I'm able to separate emotions and overall ratings. And even with that, the Toy Story movies are still top tier movies.
That's true.
They're
Yes.
still incredible. Okay.
Yeah. What would be your top 5? In order, right?
So, yes, I actually, looking at this, got highly lucky because all of my 5 are represented in S tier. Number 5 is Toy Story 4. Number 4 is Luca.
Okay.
Number 3 is Soul. Number 2 is Coco. And number 1 is Inside Out.
Okay. That's a completely respectable list. Yeah.
Man, Pixar, man. So freaking good.
They're so good. They're just so consistent. I mean, hardly do they ever produce like mediocre content.
I'm reading a book right now called Creativity Inc., which was written by Ed Catmull, who's one of the co-founders of Pixar with John Lasseter. And so recently, having read about like how the company originated. Ed Catmull was a graduate of the University of Utah and wanted to make a computer animated movie for a really long time. And, Pixar just got bounced around as first like just a graphical software company, and then they were a computer company, and Steve Jobs came in with Apple and stuff. And there was just so much that held them back from making movies.
Yeah.
And to see the absolute resilience and brilliance that has come from what they learned over that time has led to just incredible movies.
It's amazing. It really is a miracle what they've been able to accomplish there. So when I was a senior in high school, I took 3D animation classes, and I learned the program Maya, which is what they use at Pixar, and it was really cool. I was able to do some animation and stuff. And as a part of that class, we learned a lot about the beginning of Pixar and a lot about John Lasseter actually, and Steve Jobs and stuff. And so really, really cool history. If any of you are interested, it's definitely worth a look up.
Yeah, and if any of you are looking for books to read, Creativity Inc. It's pretty good. Okay. Is that going to wrap it up for today?
Yeah, I think so.
We would love to hear your Pixar list. Give us a tier list, an overall ranking, a top 5, a top 10, whatever you want to do. But please, please, please send in emails or comment on the episode or over on socials. Just let us know what you think, because it would be awesome to hear from you.
And let's publish this, like our tier list. We won't do it right away so that like our listeners won't be spoiled.
We will publish a screenshot of this 3 days after the episode drops. Fair enough?
Is that enough time though? I know a lot of our listeners like are catching up from like old episodes. Well, we'll figure that out.
Well, okay, we'll figure it out. This screenshot will be posted after the episode is
so
released.
Audio listeners, can find it on
We'll be able to see
Instagram
it
and Twitter
and
and
stuff.
whatever. So we love you guys. Thank you again to Joshua for being our supporter, our Down to Earth Cockatiel. We appreciate your support, and thank the rest of you as well just for listening in.
Of course. And if you'd like to join Joshua in being a Down to Earth Cockatiel, you can go ahead and check out our Patreon. Once again, the description of this episode will have all the information you need in order to find that, as well as our social media pages and our email. We love you guys. We hope you have a great day, and we will see you in the next one.
Talk to you soon.